podcast. If you're watching this, you're probably at home. It's the holidays, it's the festive season, and we're about to wrap up the politics year of 2024. I'm joined by IOL Deputy Editor Rondganger and IOL's digital politics journalist Kamogelo Moichela. Let's give quick scorecards. Let's start with you, Lee. ANC out of 10 for 2024.
4.
Kamo?
I'd say a solid 5.
A solid 5. I'd actually say 3. I'd say 3 from the loss of the majority, the loss of power. Okay, actually 4 sounds more fair because they actually did negotiate very well in those GNU talks. So maybe 4 is more accurate for them. I mean, for them to still have as many ministers as they managed to get after only getting 40% is quite phenomenal, actually. The DA, Kamo, out of 10?
I'll just give it a 6.5. 6.5. They've managed to
6.5.
6.5. Yeah, they've done their work in terms of mobilization of votes and all that. So yeah, I think 6.5 would do.
Liron?
I say that the DA is 6. I think that them getting into national governments is something they've only dreamed about. I think that they're actually there now. They have ministerial perks and they have people, they have DA members who call themselves the minister. They're in cabinet. So if not 6, I'll say even 7 for them. You know,
yeah.
It's been quite a big year for them. I don't think in their wildest dreams would they ever thought they would be part of cabinet, but here they are. Here we are with them.
Yeah, I'd give the DA a 7 out of 10 for 2024. They still do have their many shortcomings, but we're seeing them now. Like even just on the politicking front, you're seeing the DA push a lot of the work that their GNU ministers are pushing, and they're politicking actively with that, and they're not afraid to do that. So. But obviously, Helen Zille's still a bit of a banana peel for the DA, depending on how you look at it. And John Steenhuisen as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward with the succession races in the DA and themselves. But yeah, I'd give the DA a solid 7 out of 10 for 2024. And then I'll just play you some footage of a very happy John Steenhuisen walking into the IEC ROC results operations center earlier this year when they were looking good for their 20%.
Were you there when he walked in?
I recorded the man.
You recorded him, yes.
Mr. Steenhuisen, how do you feel about the results so far?
I'm feeling good, confident. Nice growth election for the DA, the only party in Parliament that looks like it's on a growth trajectory, more seats, and an ANC below 50%. What more could you want as a Democrat in a country out of an election?
You're beaming this morning, eh?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the results. You and the media all wrote us off, said we were going to have a bad election and the like. Well, I think that the result's going to speak to something quite different, and I'm very happy about that.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. We ran a good campaign that focused on the issues. I think we resonated with South Africans. The DA's black support has doubled. We've been able to win back areas that we lost in previous by-elections. All in all, I think it's been a good outing, and I'm looking forward to more of the metros coming in, because I think when those results start to tick up on the board, you're going to see quite a nice substantial jump in those numbers there.
A comment on your partners in the multi-party charter and their performance?
Well, we'll have to see how that goes.
All right, DA MK Party, Lee, out of 10.
I would give the MK Party a 9, but because the way they negotiated after the elections, I'm going to give them an 8. And it's only because they did not know how to bring it home. They did poorly in the negotiations after the elections. And then if I want to be really sticky about it, I'd give them a 7 because they believe the election was stolen. And they haven't admitted that they were wrong. And I think that Zuma still said last week that people took their votes. So despite them pulling away from that court action and the IEC saying, prove it to us. So maybe
they playing to the electorate, man.
they're playing to the electorate. So I'll give them a 7.5 because of those two things.
Kamo?
I mean, for me, man, I'll give the MK party a 4. I'll tell you why. A 4, man. I mean, man, like Lee said.
Hey, what's this man smoking?
No, I'll give them a 4 because I mean, people already knew Zuma, man. These people didn't have to campaign for anything. I mean,
okay.
Given how Zuma was loved from the ANC, and then people are not happy with his.
Do you think the MK could have done better?
MK could have done better. The MK could have done better. I mean, man. I mean, from I think when the elections were there, I think it was the MK party was only 6 months.
Yeah.
It has never campaigned anywhere. It has never. I mean,
so then why do you expect more votes for them?
Hence, I'm saying no. MK was voted because people loved Zuma. Zuma is, not because they've done anything on the ground. I mean, for that 6 months, man.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. What score would you give former President Jacob Zuma? Let's see.
I mean,
hey, this man is very strict, eh?
Again, man, a 4, man. And then, I mean, man, after winning so much in the elections, you still even fail to negotiate better. You know, I mean, they could have been in the JNU. Now they could be running.
Kamogelo Moichela, you are very strict. Yes.
No, man. I mean, even now, I mean, imagine getting 45%, and then now failing to run why?
Yeah, no, the case of that one, I still don't understand to this day. Like, they should have.
I mean,
they should have locked that.
Yeah, as I'm saying, Zuma with his experience, I mean, they should have locked that KZN to say no. That we now run KZN. Let's do other things. But yeah. So for me, man, it's a 4.
You are very strict though. 4 out of 10 from Kamo. Okay. I give the NK party a solid 8 out of 10. I think the fact that in 6 months that they managed to, how much was their vote count in the end? Was it 5 million? Or whatever the amount was, but the amount of campaigning and impact that they made on the elections in just 6 months was massive. So like for me, I'm not as strict as Gamo, so I'll give them a solid 8 out of 10. I think had they managed to get KZN in the bag as well, that would have been probably a 10 out of 10 from me. But yeah, I think there was a bit of political naiveness, which is strange because we're talking about Jacob Zuma here. Is in that case in respect, but I do feel like in the coming years, maybe not next year, maybe the next or whenever it is, that we could see a change of government to the KZN. I don't think it's completely out of the question. All right, and the EFF, Kamo, what do you give the EFF out of 10?
I guess, I think we need to agree as a party that we need to give the EFF 10 out of 10.
Yeah?
I mean, a 10 out of 10. I mean, man, the EFF pulled crowds from all provinces. They had, I mean...
But where are the votes?
Hence I'm saying. But then, remember, yeah, it's
10 out of 10. Wait, did you like 10 out of 10? 10
out of 10 for their campaign, not the electoral results. Their campaign.
No, but remember, we are this ranking we are given is not just about the elections only. It's about party performance for the year. So encompassing the campaigns, the elections, what the party's done in government or in parliament, the party holistically. 10 out of 10.
Okay. If when
take
you
it
say
back, please take it back.
No. Let me take it back to a bit 8.5. Guys, we've seen the EFF campaigning, guys, in all the provinces. I'm not saying in all the provinces. they've put out in stadiums, man. That's why they
Yeah.
issue of,
The EFF is a very organized party. I'll give them that much. But it is a point of concern, though, the rate at which they are seemingly bleeding votes or unable to attract new votes. Lee, what? Yeah,
I think what led them to obviously the electoral support, the support going down, the issue of opening borders. That is what, even though Malema might be denied and said no, but then we cannot.
Yeah,
use
funny
votes.
enough, I was actually listening to him on the King David Studio podcast. I think sometimes as a politician, you just need to do what you got to do, and the borders issue is that do what you got to do moment for the EFF, but they just simply refuse to, and as long as they refuse to, they are going to continue to suffer.
Exactly.
Lee, what's your take on the EFF in
I
2024?
give the EFF a 4.5 out of 10. I think that the EFF, the fact that they hadn't been able to grow past, they actually did worse than they did in 2019. I think the fact that Malema is...
They lost 1 million votes, bro.
They lost 1 million votes. They have lost so many people that there's been a few missteps that Malema has made for his party. As you say, the open borders thing is something that he's not in tune with the elections with. Malema is so Thomas Sankara caught up, in this whole thing that the bread and butter issue sometimes fails him to get. I think that he's very idealist, he's very Pan-Africanist, but I think that's one issue that has escaped him. The fact that
that's an issue that he just needs to be gating about at this point.
Yeah.
I really respect him for being
the principle.
For being principled about this issue. That this is an issue that he believes in, and that no amount of double speak is going to change his mind on it. So you got to respect him for that. I think it has cost him votes. I think Kamo has alluded to that. It has cost him votes. I think that Malema needs to...
Because you even listen to radio and you hear people that who say, yeah, I like the EFF, but on borders,
Yeah, I think that the EFF is only going to improve. I think that we are witnessing a mature Malema coming to play. Gone is the
radical.
The radical Malema. Now you witnessing a mature person. He said, the first thing, he was one of the first politicians, the first of the left politicians after the elections, when Zuma was still contesting that the elections may have been rigged or whatever. He said we trust these elections. He wasn't there that midnight press briefing. Sihle, you were there on the ground at night. We were at the election center together. It was a scary time. Malema was the mature person in that scenario.
Yeah, he deserves a lot of credit for.
So he does, and he's also, one of the things he said after elections was that they're no longer going to disrupt Parliament. They're not longer going to be fighting with the white shirts and bodyguards. So there's a maturity happening there that must be commended. But I think that them not being able to grow, attract new voters, has played against them. So I would give them a 5 out of 10 if I have to think about it more clearly on some of the progress they have made. So it's been a 5 out of 10 for the EFF.
Yeah, I think our IOL readers will tell us that we're being very kind to the EFF. EFF's had a terrible year. They've lost 1 million votes. But yeah, on that, from a principle point of view, they've put their best foot forward. I think in May they actually have helped in averting a political crisis, which could have resulted in lives getting lost. Because in my imagination, had they jumped on that bandwagon as well, there just would have been too many unhappy people not to have what's the right word, crisis on the ground. So I think credit to the EFF at that point. So I'll give them a 4 out of 10, possibly sliding down to a 3. But yeah, the EFF's got a lot of work to do to regain lost ground.
Yeah.
And with that said, we've come to the end of the podcast. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If you swim, put a thingamabob. What do you call these things? These
Armbands.
floating.
Put on your armbands.
Don't drink and drive. Be safe. Enjoy your Christmas holidays with your families. Come back in one piece. Get some rest. We out. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man.
Thank you. Leroy.